listeners. Welcome to the Eyecare Experts. Dr. Bell with Dr. Terrezza. And we can tell by the humidity it's warming up out there, right? It's getting close to the spring breakers. It's getting a little more traffic in town. So sun, summer, sand, all that stuff. And for us here in Pensacola, that means certainly looking forward to seeing the Blue Angels too around July. But being out in the sun, that's what we're going to talk about today. Being in the UV light, wearing eye protection, which will help with a lot of things. And we're going to kind of go through certainly, whether it be brand name frames, whether it be the lenses, things that will help you, because we get questions a lot, as far as patients who come in with certain, let's say it's a pterygium, and we'll talk about that, or just dry eyes, or maybe even cataracts. And they say, hey, hey doc, how do I have this? Could I have prevented it? And certainly sunglasses will do a lot of those things to help prevent the progression of some of those things, especially on the surface of the eye.
In evidence-based medicine, the only real correlation with things that are cataractogenic, in other words, they cause cataracts, are UV light. Everything else is all suspect to theory and not really evidence-based. And there's a lot of things with that, but these UV is a proven mutagenic to the human eye and the lens in the human eye.
And just like most things, we talk about UV light, UV rays can damage. It can be short-term or it can be long-term. We think about our skin a lot of times as far as putting maybe whether it be a sunblock or sun protection on the skin, but I think a lot of us don't necessarily realize that the eyes and the conj and the surface of the eye can get sun damage just like the skin can. So that gets neglected a lot of times. But we're going to go through, certainly the question I get asked a lot is, what sunglasses do I need? What UV protection do I need? If I go, whether it's a nice pair or maybe a cheaper pair, which UV protection? What do you usually tell patients as far as, if I need UV, what UV do I need to protect for, and that sort of thing?
Well, I get more specific with him. I customize it.
Yeah.
So if he says, I can't wait to get off work on Friday nights because Saturday morning I'm in a boat all day fishing out in the Gulf, well, that's a different program. That's intense. Ultraviolet light tends to bounce off. So there's different components of the spectrum to ultraviolet. Now, Dr. Bell's going to I have to watch because I tend to go in the weeds, okay? There's ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, ultraviolet C, and ultraviolet D rays. So some of the cheaper sunglasses will only block A and some of B, and they won't do the whole spectrum. The real good ones will catch it all. And I always remember a Zeiss demonstration. Zeiss is one of the premier lens makers in the world. It's a German company that's been making lenses for a long, long time, since the 1800s at least. And they had a patient wear the sunglass, which covered most of the skin around their eyes, and the color of the skin was different under the sunglass than it was outside of the sunglass, and had been shown to wrinkle much less as a function of the UV protection in their sunglasses. And for women apparently, but for both genders, that's an important cosmetic feature. So that's just how this thing can stretch out and be good for you.
Well, the one, and you had kind of touched on that when you talked about boaters, is polarized. Polarized versus unpolarized glasses. Anybody who searches for sunglasses, whether it's online or any store, that's what you see as polarized, and then non-polarized. Well, polarized, what they do, and you can go through the science of it, but basically, I kind of break it down, but any reflection off of a surface, whether it be water, whether it be asphalt, whether it be snow, those rays that hit the surface and then bounce back, the polarized glasses basically eliminate those rays. And so you get those light not coming through. And so the polarized sunglasses work really well for, people who are on the boat all day, people who are fishing all day. I tend to wear, polarized more than non-polarized because I'm usually around the water. Do you usually wear polarized? Or what do you
do. As a matter of fact, I have a clip-on on obviously I have a few pairs of glasses, and I wear a clip-on that I drive at night with because of the LED lights and the colored lights on some of the newer cars are very intense. and this one blocks the glare off of some of those, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, I love my polarized sunglasses. The only, I guess, if you want to say a negative to polarized sunglasses is the way it filters the light rays. If you wear the polarized sunglasses in the car, it helps you, but it may make the digital displays look a little, funky or something like that. But that is the only, and that's really not a big deal. But certainly I want patients to be aware of that it will kind of distort maybe something like that. But as far as protection, it is hard to beat from the UV in the sunlight. So things, certainly wearing sunglasses, protect the eyes, dryness, it won't dry off the cornea. Pterygium, whether it's a pinguecula or pterygium, basically, the white part of the eye, which is the conge of the eye, you'll see either nasally or temporally where there's maybe a little pigment, maybe a little browning, a yellow, some people say salmon patches, and usually those happen from patients who are out in the sunlight quite a bit. And if they were to wear sunglasses UV protection, it would lower the chances of it getting it and also lower the chances of it progressing, because sometimes those things can get so far they keep growing over the iris and the pupil, and they can actually block the vision, and we have to do surgery if it gets really bad. And then cataracts. I think everybody's familiar with cataracts, but cataracts is basically the lens. It's in the eye, but it's towards the front of the eye. And over years and years of the sunlight, the UV light, age, a lot of things, contribute. It causes clouding of that cataract and could eventually lead to cataract surgery. I guess nowadays a lot of patients are opting for cataract surgery sooner because of all the lens options. But if you're one of those that would prefer not to, or you want to kind of hold off, certainly wearing sunglasses would help slow down the progression of cataract development.
A lesser known fact is on the retina of the human eye, those cells are also affected by ultraviolet light. Ultraviolet B rays, in my college days I did research on fruit flies, and when we genetically modified them, we'd stick them in a container and expose them to ultraviolet light, which would cause certain types of genetic changes in their DNA. And that is a factor, and it occurs whether you know it's occurring or not. And that's what happens on the skin, and that's why some of those cells change their metabolism and become cancerous in some cases, or just different from what they would normally be. And that occurs in the eye too. And the retina part of that is still debated today. But I think there's enough evidence to show that blocking ultraviolet light from the human eye is a good thing, no matter what the situation.
Well, we certainly hear it, every so often as far as solar eclipses, you have the special solar glasses, but even I've seen in my 21 years, I've seen a handful of patients which I would term solar retinopathy. It wasn't a solar eclipse, they just were staring at the sun, and you can see the pigment changes in the macula. So, it could be a superficial, it could be, not a big deal, but it sometimes, you're talking about your central vision with solar retinopathy, sometimes it can be a big deal in some of those more extreme cases.
And if you have sensitivity, light sensitivity, as a function of taking medications, they have, for instance, you can get a polarized lens, and you can get one that changes and gets darker and lighter as a function of the incoming intensity. So you can combine the two, and then you can put a glare block on top of that, or you can put a blue light factor into the lens, and now we're getting very fancy, but you've got the best of the best there.
And as far as sunglasses go, we carry Ray-Bans, we carry Oakley, we carry Acosta, we carry Maui Jim, we carry Bahia, and pretty much any of those I think you could get in a prescription if you wanted to. You could get prescription sunglasses, you can get whatever tint you want.
Well, those lenses specifically, you have to be an authorized distributor for, and we are, which means we honor all warranties and problems with the lens, and those lenses are made by Ray-Ban themselves. Not every Joe Blow can make a Ray-Ban lens. They can substitute for it, but to get the real McCoy, you have to get that from Ray-Ban.
And since we're on the topic of sunglasses, certainly let's talk a little bit about Ray-Ban and talk about Meta, because as far as Meta, what's offered with that, because we have 2 demo kits, I think, or
At least
at
two.
least two at our
Yeah.
offices to kind of demo that. But Meta, I think, we've seen commercials on it, but basically it's combining, you say it as far as.
It's got a smartphone built into the sides of the frame, and you can project in front of you what you would read on your computer. So you can record video with that by tapping the side and seeing what you need to see and keep it for later. I've fit 2 surgeons with these, and they're very happy with them. So while they're doing their surgery, they tap it prior to doing the surgery, and it records everything they're doing and their voice, and then transcribes it into their electronic medical record. So they're saving an hour and a half a day, which on a surgeon's time, that's pretty good. And the lenses and the frame and the whole shebang are retailing, and I don't see why I can't mention the price, at $170. And for that kind of technology, that's a very reasonable price.
Yeah, it's not near as much as you think it would be.
No.
I mean, to be able to kind of talk to it. And I mean, one of the things we're going to do in our office is to have them as far as maybe even having patients. If we have a patient who speaks a different language and we don't have, someone there, they can wear a pair of glasses, we can wear a pair of glasses and kind of communicate back and forth and make that a little bit easier.
Yeah, it'll do that in real time. So if the patient is speaking, let's say, Vietnamese, they'll speak Vietnamese into those glasses. They'll translate it. I will hear it in English. My English will then be translated into Vietnamese for the patient. And so that level of communication, it's been shown. There have been public health studies that people who don't speak excellent English get their level of health care they receive. They don't ask the questions that they would ask, and they're not sure of what's going on. And that's been well documented.
And then Meta, the other one, let's talk a little bit about nuance. Yep.
Oh, the nuance
Yep.
thing, this amazed me. So the Luxottica, which is the largest optical company in the world, and they're listed on the New York Stock Exchange, built a receivers and hearing apparatus into the sides of their glasses called the Nuance. And it's unidirectional, so when you point your head, you can adjust it so it'll only hear from one particular way. So if you're in a crowded room, you'll hear things coming from directly in front of you should you set it that way. And I had a gentleman come into our Baptist location who was wearing hearing aids, not having good luck with them, and somehow my dispenser, Michelle, said, listen, put these glasses on over the hearing aids. I didn't think of that, she did. And put the glasses on, and his hearing was much improved. And he was very happy with that. So it's a competitive price too. You get your hearing aids and your glasses all in one shot. And he wore those, and he wore them with his other hearing aids. And that amazed me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing good results. And for patients who have hearing aids, maybe patients that don't even have hearing aids that just maybe can't hear as well, or are in a situation where they need, there's a little back noise and they need to hear a little bit better. That's a good option as far as
It's made for slight to moderate hearing losses, uncomplicated. It's not meant to diagnose anything or whatever. As of October of 24, hearing aids went over the counter. And this is in that vein. And you can put prescription lenses in there, and you wear the glasses and then the others. And the beauty of this thing is there's nothing. So one of the major problems with hearing aids, they focus on the size of the hearing aid as being important. Well, it is, but this has nothing in the ear, and that's what bothers people, because something in the ear is an obstacle and blocks sound waves from getting in. This transmits it through the air and goes into your ear with nothing in the ear, and people really like that.
And then the next one I know that's near and dear to your heart is the Avalux, talking about migraines and Avalux.
Oh, I've used this. Yeah, this lens is amazing. It was developed by a gastroenterologist who was head of the Cleveland Clinic. And he spent 12 years on this. He had 2 girls, and they were so light sensitive that they had to drop out of school. He had them at the house, and it got so bad in-house that he had to wear a construction hat with a small light on it to walk around. And he got to feeling like a prisoner in his own house. And so he had the means to start a lab and hire a physicist. And light is made up of different wavelengths, and they're numbered. 450, 470, or typically like UV, 472, and they go in increments of 1 wavelength. Although you could split it down from that, but I don't want to get in the weeds. So He broke these down, had this gentleman test this, and it took him 2.5 years and figured out 2 wavelengths that when you stop those 2 wavelengths, they're triggers for migraine headaches. So he tried them on his daughters, and his daughters stopped the migraines, and he was amazed. He then put this on other things, took it to his clinics, took it to his neurologist at Cleveland Clinic, and did very well with them. He then spent the next 6 years getting an FDA approval for those lenses as a treatment for migraine, which he obtained in April of 24. I've had these lenses about 6 months. I met him in New York and decided to carry this product. And we've tried it on 9 patients with severe migraines. 4 of them got rid of them. So they were very happy. And there's a whole protocol we go with, and we also have a money-back guarantee on it, so that if we use it on you and it doesn't work, we refund 100% of your money.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we went through a few of the, going through the sunglass options as far as frames: Bahia, Maui Jim, Ray-Ban, Costa, Oakley, as well as we have some luxury brands too. But our website, TerrezzaOptical.com, will list all of those brands, and it will even tell you which brand is at any particular office if you're looking for that one brand. The other thing to mention is if you come into an office and let's say, hey, we have an Oakley pair of sunglasses, but maybe it's not the one you prefer, or maybe it's a little too small or too snug, we certainly can order different brands. We can oftentimes order different sizes as far as temples, as far as eye sizes. So always ask and say, hey, this is the one I like, or maybe this color I like a little bit better. And most often not, we can order that for the patient.
Sure, that's what differentiates us, is we do that part, which is often seen as menial, but it's not. It's custom fitting, like you get a custom fit suit and a custom prescription or a custom drug. You just customize, and people appreciate that and really like that.
And the other thing that often I think patients will forget, and just in general, is health savings account. Health savings, flex spending accounts. A lot of these funds, at the end of the year, certainly patients will come in and try to burn it there before the year's end. But if you have that money, you can use that towards sunglasses. And I think a lot of patients don't realize that you can do that. So just let us know whether it's just a polarized sunglass, whether you want a Meta, whether you want some of the more specialized ones, we can help you out. We appreciate y'all listening, and just let us know how we can help you. Thank you.
That covers it.
Thank you, guys.